Hey guys, I'm back with another 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. This series where I just recommend some cool underground stuff you may not have heard to check out if you're not familiar. First though, got a couple of cool announcements of sorts. So now there is a Åskog web shop where you can get merchandise on Teespring. Currently there is a tote bag and a coffee mug, just 'cause I figured I don't want to make useless stuff, but a tote bag, you know, cool for carrying records. Coffee mug, most of us like coffee, but then there's just a hoodie, 2 t-shirts, and a long sleeve off the top of my head. So if you want to support the channel, I don't want to do like a Patreon where you guys basically pay me to do what I'm going to do anyway, but if you want to represent the channel and give me something in return, which will inevitably be spent on supporting underground bands in turn, that would be great. And second announcement, me and my girlfriend have just started our own fanzine, which is really cool. The first issue is available now. It's completely free, so the way it works, I have a copy here, is the PDF is online on a Gumroad, I think it's called, account. You can pay if you want, but you can enter nil and get it for free. And then you can print your own copies for you and your friends if you so wish, and there will also be some distros like Extremely Rotten, Dunkelheit, Necrolatry, Desecration Productions, or Destruction, I can't remember. It's the guy who does Bestial Desecration fanzine anyway. So yeah, I'll be around and about. The first issue is very basic. There is now a proper logo and even cooler art for the second one, and I've started interviewing bands. I do the interviews and reviews. So in this one you get Andervald, Hellripper, Midnight, Undergang, and Ryan Forster with a focus on Conqueror, but some stuff on Death Worship and that. It's, as you can see, fairly basic layout, but like I say, this will improve for the second issue with some reviews in the back. But yeah, it's completely free. Make yourself a copy, make your friends a copy, and hopefully the second one will be bigger and better. So with that stuff out of the way, first band is Ceremonial Bloodbath on Sentient Ruin Laboratories, not records or productions there, a bit different there. Now, what you get with this is definitely some bestial black and death metal, but what's far more interesting is the dissonance is quite expansive with notes that remind me of Abyssal and Mylingar, very bass-heavy, kind of atonal, progressive almost. There's definitely technical ability to the musicianship while it still has that savage, unrelenting, bestial edge, I guess you could call it. This is definitely a really killer album, definitely one that I'm hoping will be on other people's end of the year lists, if you make such a thing. Also, feel free to start leaving comments now on what you think is going to be in my list, or what I should have in mind, and maybe I'll go, ah, fuck, I haven't heard that, that's even cooler than what I put. Maybe I'll go, no, it's not. Anyway, check out Ceremonial Bloodbath for some great blackened death metal. And now some friends from Sweden. You may remember me talking about a band called Melodic in last year, I think it was, with their Födelsen debut album. And now we have Åskog, which is the new project with a 3-track demo. It's some really great stuff, limited to 50 copies on cassette tape. Now, what this band is like, you can kind of guess from the art, in that you get a very kind of melodic and atmospheric approach. And you know I'm a bit iffy on this kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of these bands that sound really flowery and more like folk metal, which is another one I like some and not others. But Åskog still has a lot of cool riffs, really good musicianship, real drums, which is interesting. You don't see that so often. And yeah, so if you like atmospheric and melodic black metal that still has kind of some ferocity to it, then check out Åskog. Now we have some CDs. This is a CD and tape video, apparently. First up we have Ulven, which is really hard to see because it's black. You can see nice reflections of my various personal belongings. But this originally came out on cassette, and I think vinyl, on Death Cult Productions, but Morbid Chapel have recently reissued it. This is just some great traditional black metal with some death metal elements. It's called Death Rites Upon a Winged Crusade. If you like old school extreme metal with a really ferocious sound, then definitely check these guys out. It's really cool stuff, and yeah, really good, solid black metal album for you there. Next up, we have some kind of old school gore grind tinged death from Congenital Deformity, another Morbid Chapel release with Rotten Tomb Records, who I wrongly called Rotten Something Else Records in last video, but never mind. If you like, you know, your kind of slightly grindy, really brutal death metal that still has that kind of old school spirit, it definitely deserves to be called a death metal release. I say album, it's kind of an EP, so yeah, ignore that bit. Or is it a demo? Who knows what it is. What it is good death metal, definitely worth checking out. Congenital Deformity are really cool. Now we have a even shorter EP, also from Morbid Chapel Records, because they sent me a bunch of stuff, and we like stuff here. Let's talk about stuff. So we have Seraphic Entombment with a damn cool logo. If you're wondering why these jewel cases look a bit shitty, this is not the product you get from Morbid Chapel. They, when labels send me stuff, they send all the inlays and the CD, but no case, so I just upcycle old cases. So yeah, don't expect to get a shitty secondhand jewel case from them. Their stuff always rules. And anyway, this is some doomy, dripping, spectral death metal. You know, if you like your spectral voices and crypts and general Finnish death metal, this should appeal. This is called Quelled. It is just 2 tracks of really solid death doom with tons of atmosphere, really easy to get into and just immerse yourself in. Now, the other end of death metal, we have some killer Swedish death metal from Disrupted with their Pure Death album. This is out on vinyl by Nihil Records, and the CD is Memento Mori from Spain, really cool label. We have this awesome artwork by Woodcutter Illustrations. I really like his artwork, and evidently Disrupted do too. And I just noticed this really cool thing. And if you also notice this, then tell me I'm a slow idiot. But right at the top here, we have the Boss HM2 control knobs in the guillotine. So that's a cool little touch. But yeah, if you like your HM2 death metal, your Entombed, Dismember, Grave, Bloodbath, all those kinds of killer bands, check out Disrupted. Tons of grooves, tons of D beats, killer riffs. Really brutal album there. Definitely worth a listen. Now a couple from Narbentage Produktionen, or however the fuck you say stuff in German. First we have the Scottish speed metal, well, blackened speed metal band, again, wrong word, Knife Fighter. This is a one-man project with a very orange cassette shell. We get 9 tracks here on this album. It's called Unholy Sepulchre, and it is just killer black speed metal. You know, if you like the bands like Devastator and Hellripper, who I've talked about on here, well, obviously Hellripper, fellow Scots, definitely check out Knife Fighter. This is just blistering, fast, good heavy metal times. There's very little you can't enjoy about this. I mean, what you see is what you get. If you like this stuff, you'll like this. If you don't, then it's going to not appeal. But I like it. I think it's really cool. Now we have some raw black metal from Germany called Gjaldur. This is Nachtreich. I'm really not good at German. Apologies, guys. But which I assume is Night Reich. Whatever Reich means, I guess. Anyway, this is a really cool album of raw black metal. It's quite dissonant, yeah, it's got lots of atmosphere. It's really haunting and chilling, so if you like stuff like Black Silas and the various other raw black metal bands I generally use as a reference point. The interesting thing about this is there's some almost folky melodies that give it a kind of Sargeisty feel in parts. So there's that kind of melancholic, very picky lead section in Sargeist music that just really stands out, I guess, and it's perfect winter music. So if you like your kind of old school black metal, especially in the Finnish vein and the French vein, but in the rawer kind of thing, Drowning the Light, that's another notable comparison I could make, who I was just listening to before recording this. Definitely check out Gjaldur. This is some really cool black metal. Now, staying on the subject of kind of more melodic and atmospheric black metal, we have Stormkeep with the Gjaldur debut album, or EP, I think. Or is it the second EP? No, it's the first EP after a demo on Van Records from Germany. This is an American project which kind of takes 90s Norwegian black metal, more in the vein of Obtained Enslavement and those kinds of bands. You know the bands I mean, maybe some Emperor and stuff, but more like the Obtained Enslavement kind of end of symphonic black metal. Some dungeon synth parts, some melodic parts, very Scandinavian sounding band, featuring a Blood Incantation member, no less, which is interesting. There's 4 tracks, the last being a dungeon synth song, and it's just really cool. 2 of the songs are over 10 minutes, so you get a lot of atmosphere, a lot of build-up. It's definitely an immersive album to listen to and experience, and it's really cool. Definitely worth listening to. And finally, what better to close a heavy metal video out with some plain old school, traditional heavy metal from Lord Fist, a Finnish band. You know it's heavy metal because there's a horse on it. And who else would get away with a horse? And a sword, which kind of looks wooden, but maybe it's not. And a very Finnish beer belly. Now, Lord Rot, a killer band. This is the 2nd album, I think, off the top of my head. It's on High Roller Records. Now, if you like stuff like Eternal Champion, who I've talked about recently, which came in the same promo package as this. So yeah, definitely bonus recommendation. Check out the new Eternal Champion album. That rules. And Haunt and bands like that, who I was also listening to today. A lot of tangents, excuse me, my brain's all over the place. Lord Fist and Wildness of Hearts is a ripper. It's about 30 minutes of just fist-pumping, melodic, anthemic heavy metal glory. You know, if you like your Angel Witches and your Saxons and your Man of War before they turned shit and employed a nonce, then listen to Lord Fist, because it will take you back to these steel pounding on anvil kind of heavy metal sounds that just rules. I love this kind of stuff, and Lord Fist do a really cool job of it. And that is 10 bands to listen to, and in my case, put away because I didn't do that very neatly. Never mind. I hope you guys enjoy these bands and the video. If you want to subscribe and stick around for more, that would be great. And yeah, if you fancy checking out mine and Liz's fanzine with her artwork on it, it's really cool. She's a great artist, and I'm a pretty cool interviewer and reviewer, I'd like to think. So that'll be cool. And if you check out and want to grab some Åskog merch, it is heavily appreciated and will continue funding my heavy metal addiction for the rest of my life. And until next time, stay metal.